Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, I'm still on my phone because, yeah. Tell me, I'm going to wait. I'm a little bit early, so I was just sitting here already, so I thought I would do it early. Look how close my face is. Um, Amber, tell me if you can hear like a chainsaw because I have the door open and I'm hoping that you can't hear it. I don't know who's sawing. I think I'm live. Okay, you can't hear it. I couldn't sleep last night and I'm kind of like zoned out today. But since I'm a little bit early, just hang tight. I got to get my water really quick. Hello, hello, hello. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, I'm back. So I still can't get my computer to work. I got to have I don't know. I'm going to have to get somebody to come in and fix it for me. So there's two of me. 3 minutes and we'll start. How's everybody's day going so far? Not very much drama on the tubes today, which is good. You ever just have one of those days where you just feel like you're kind of spaced out and like you just don't know what's going on? That's how I feel today. Well, 2 minutes. Here we go. Hey, Dippity Doo. Hey, Dippity Doo. Hey, Jackie. Anybody I missed? Sorry, I've got two devices going again. Tomorrow night's like True Crime Live will be in the evening because I realized there's no good way to schedule it around people. There's going to be conflicts. That is going to be on the Jeffrey McDonald case. If you've not heard of it, it's pretty crazy case. I didn't even know about it. It's very similar, I think, to the Chris Watts case. So that's going to be a couple people recommended that, but yeah, dippity do. So, like I said, I gave people like voice, to kind of like what topics, what cases have you guys want us to look into that you've never been able to before or you hasn't been covered yet. So I do like went to the doctors and having some serious things going on in my head. I have to have a few tests done. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Luann. I will I'll be praying for you. Hope everything turns out okay. Yeah, Amber, it's very similar. So I'm trying to stay away from doing too many mainstream cases because I think that they could like the Johnny Depp case. If you watch, I mean, there's like a bazillion channels covering it right now, and you can almost like beat it to death. So I'm trying to stay away from doing too many that are being overdone, and also sometimes it's kind of fun, even if they're historic true crime cases or whatnot. I also live fairly close to Willard, and I want to, do some coverages of like asylums and stuff. So we're just going to do a whole bunch of different things. Hey, Nana Sue. So I'm going to get going here. People will jump in when they can. So happy Tuesday. I agree. Yeah. I can't get into the Depp case. I think if I watched it from the beginning, I could, but I just can't. I've been watching I watched Mike Dropping, Mike Dropping, and Mod Squad on Monday, but there's some really good historic ones. So, and I have some really good resources that are helping me research. So, today's case that we're going to talk about, if you haven't heard about it yet, is the little boy in the suitcase. It sounds really bad. Yeah, Amber, I can't get into it. So the case of the little boy in the suitcase, it's so tragic because we know so little about it. We're gonna watch a video actually here in a second of an interview that actually took place with the man that found this little boy. Um, April 16th, right? So April 16th, a little boy was found by a forager who was out wild mushroom hunting. He was out wild mushroom hunting and came across this suitcase. So let's kind of go over the timeline here. So on April 16th, the little boy is found in the suitcase. Um, obviously, the guy's devastated. So then so he finds the little boy on April 16th. And they uncover that it is an African American little boy between ages of 5 and 8, which I think they did end up determining he was most likely 5. 4 feet tall with short hair. So as bad as this sounds, if they know his height, from what I would gather, was that they knew he was still put together. Okay, so is what I would think. And so that was on April 16th, and short hair. That's all they knew about this little boy. Okay, on April 17th, this took place in Indiana, and you'll see more about that in the video. On April 17th, it came out that the press release came out that this boy had been found. Okay, that's April 17th press release. April 18th, the National ISP, which I can't remember what that stands for, but they released a statement and put him on the missing kids list and opened up the tip line. There was 200 tips. Keep in mind, they do not know who this little boy is to this point. April 19th, the police finally release a suitcase, which you'll see that it's a Las Vegas. It's a super gaudy suitcase. So they released this suitcase that is hoping that will bring forward people to identify who this little boy is in the suitcase. That's the last anyone has heard from the police. So that's, oh my goodness. So, hey, LA. So April 19th is the last we have been updated by the police about a 5-year-old boy found in a suitcase. Okay. Devil's advocate could mean, right, with Delphi, they never released a lot because of the fact they didn't, somebody remind me, wasn't it that like there were certain signatures they didn't want to be released, and, to have other people, there were certain reasons that they didn't release a lot of information. April 23rd, apparently the people within the neighborhood got really antsy and have started to they held 3 different vigils, oh my gosh, vigils, and they have started to basically pressure the police to say, what's going on now? This little boy is part of our town now. We want to know what is happening. So I'm going to play the video for you. They finally, at that point, I believe it was April 28th, the guy that actually found the little boy came forward with an interview and did an interview. So we're going to watch that really quick. Let me get that pulled up. I'm going to remove myself.
Boy dead in a suitcase and
Washington County, and that's when he found a hard suitcase, and you can see this print.
Police work to identify the body. New tonight at 6 o'clock. Tom Lally from our sister station in Louisville takes us in that horrible discovery.
Jeff Meredith calls this place heaven. It's the woods outside his home. He says he can sit for hours every day just watch. On April 16th, he found something out of place. It was a boy, and now it's his mission to find that boy's name.
Immediately, I felt that he was me. I need help.
It was late that Saturday. Jeff Meredith was out in the woods of his property looking.
I had to cross over.
Boy in Indiana.
The man was hunting for mushrooms near Pekin in Washington County, and that's when he found.
As police are still now working to identify the body. New tonight at 6 o'clock. Tom Lally from our state takes horrible discovery.
Jeff Meredith calls this place heaven. It's the but on one day, April 16th, he found something out of place. It was a boy, and now it's his name.
Immediately, I felt you help me. I need help.
It was late that Saturday. Meredith was out
decided to cross over and mushroom hunt on the fire.
Whew. Man, I hope this computer thing gets figured out soon. So what I'll do is I'll post that link, and that is actually the interview that happens from the man that found him. Basically, the gist of what he says, and like I said, you can watch it, is just that he felt like when he found the suitcase, the boy was saying, "Help me, help me." And he didn't know why, but he felt like he had to open it. When he opened it, he found the little boy. He kind of expresses his frustration that no one is doing anything and no one is, I mean, it's in Marion County in Indiana. And I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts? Literally, there's nothing. So would you say, in your true crime minds, that police are not talking about this because it's dried up, they have no clues whatsoever? Or would you say that they're talking about this because of the fact that, or they're not talking about this because they have clues that they don't want, like the Delphi case, they don't want to, say anything about it because only the killer would know these clues or whatnot? What my prediction is, and I talked to Alex a little bit about this, was that Alex Erickson, was it the reason no one has come forward yet in my mind, hey, Veronica, would tell me that the parents are involved somehow, or whoever his caretakers were involved in some way. But what are your thoughts on it? Let me hear your thought, or let me see your thoughts. Do you think that it was his caretakers involved? Hey, unpopular opinion. Or that, I mean, what other, why the delay in the, and, you know, I don't know how to say this, but if it was a missing white boy, and I'm white, you know, I hate saying that. I hate saying that. But I mean, what are we supposed to believe, right? Like we're talking April 16th, this little boy is found. Oh, thank you so much. Amber just posted the link to the interview and stuff. Yeah, with the video. Thank you. So I cannot wrap my head around why it's silent. Why it's gone silent. Another important fact, the autopsy could not determine the cause of his death. Okay, so it could not determine the cause of death. So they are waiting for his toxology to come back, and see if he had any drugs or anything of that in his system. But again, I mean, what would that look like? Why would there be, to not be able to tell a cause of death with an autopsy seems bizarre to me. Recent story I saw about a mom with a child with autism. She didn't want, oh my goodness. I think I saw that story where she just basically threw her away. Yeah. That's why I believe the little boy in my hometown has no coverage that's missing and things are fishy because, okay, so LA, and I mean, I'm not going to talk about that, but okay, Gabby Petito disappears. Beautiful white girl, God rest her soul. No, nothing against her. Like, awesome. There's a nationwide manhunt, right? Nationwide. Every channel is talking about her. Doing anything they can, going to the ends of the earth, nonstop coverage, finding her. But we have a 5-year-old estimated little boy found in a suitcase in the woods, an African American, and that's it. Found in the woods. I don't want to believe that, but what are we supposed to believe? Like, my hope is that they have clues that they're not telling us. But again, it's not really like, so the Delphi case, there was pretty significant signatures, if I remember, that they didn't want to reveal because the only one that would know it, if I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, was the killer himself. So, right. And the one here is 2 and dad didn't report. Oh my gosh. Okay. Summer Wells. Oh, it just told me my stocks dropped today. Oh, Summer Wells. That crazy show. And again, but look at the coverage. So what am I missing? Like Alex's post said, I'm gonna get so much hate for this coverage, but I'm gonna get so much hate. Like Alex said, kids don't just go missing. Right? A parent or a caregiver has obviously not reported this child, or that, I mean, immediately would have been, I would have thought, detective. Right, Amber, I don't know what the reasoning would be that they wouldn't be able to determine his death. I can't, they believe, from my understanding, they believe that he died recently. It wasn't like he had been there and he was bones or anything like that. So he had died recently. And then how does he get from to where he is? Yeah, we're about to hit the 1 year in Summer Wells. if you have time, okay, that's what I'll look up. Cody Bigsby. Thank you. I'm going to write that down. I absolutely will have time because I think we need to talk about this. And I've been, in touch with Tia because she wants to talk about, some of these things too, but it's really bothersome. And we've got to start finding all of these kids, but it's just, we need all of them to get the attention they deserve. Now, I can't say that this hasn't gotten any attention, but I haven't seen nonstop creators talking about it or nonstop news story, that exists for maybe Summer and whatnot. And I understand Summer's still missing, and that's nothing against her to take away from her, but I don't know. I would love to see some of your thoughts on what possibility they'd have for not knowing how he died on that autopsy, because I can't figure it out. Because I would think strangulation would show up. I mean, what is toxicology going to show? I guess I'm just not as familiar with that process. I mean, the Watts girls, look at, they were put in oil, right? And they were determined how they died by the autopsy. So exactly, Ellie. So how could they not know? I mean, if you really, where's Kathy Joe? She's awesome at this kind of stuff, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If you can put the Watts girls the way they died and determine how they died and the cause of death, I can't figure out why this little boy, they can't determine his cause of death. Unless it is drug related, unless there is no outside, signs of death. Brian Laundrie was just bits in it. Oh yeah, again, LA. Yeah, you're right. It just doesn't make sense. But I know that there's definitely not enough coverage at all of this little boy. At all. And like dental records and stuff, they can't figure, like fingerprints. Did he not? I guess I'm at a loss because I don't understand how they can't identify him. I mean, people identify by bones, by teeth, everything. But they can't identify a little boy, and it doesn't make sense. Hey, Parker in chat, this kind of reminds me of a little boy whose body was found in Las Vegas. They had no idea who he was, so they had to release a photo. He ended up being from my area, his father. Really? So hold up. Beautifully broken. That's not, wait, from Las Vegas? Really? Wow. Oh, I think I remember that. That's crazy. Body was found in Las Vegas. Okay. This was a pretty funky suitcase too. So, I mean, it was pretty, yeah, it's just wild. Maybe he's from another state and then traveled state lines. Yeah. Thought the mother took him away to be with family. She ended up killing the boy and traveling. Oh my gosh. Hey, Harley Davidson. Man, that is tragic. Unless he's so young they never took him to I wonder if that's a possibility. You have to wonder, was he even cared for at all? That's so sad to even think about, but obviously no one was rushing to identify him or to report him missing. So you can only imagine the conditions that he lived in. Because, I mean, goodness, my kids aren't home. And, yeah, as a mom, yeah. That's insane. I never took him. Oh, I bet. Cody Bigsby. Okay. We got to look into that case too. But I mean, again, that's all that we have of the information since April 19th. So no one has any idea what is. Some people don't take kids to the dentist at the recommended age. They wait till they're older. Okay, that makes sense. What about, and I guess if he hadn't started school yet, they probably wouldn't have fingerprints, right? Or would, I can't remember. No, because they do it at birth. But yeah, I guess it would depend on, they don't do x-rays until they're at least, okay. All right. And I guess fingerprints wouldn't be, there's probably many different circumstances surrounding that. I don't understand it. I can't figure it out for the life of me. No. I'm trying to think out loud. But yeah, so this is pretty much the bear of this case. They are obviously asking for help for anybody who might know anything, blah, 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 blah. But unfortunately, I have a really bad feeling about this case. How old is this little boy that was in the suitcase? They first said between 5 and 8, but it's looking like he's more along the lines of 5. But again, that's an estimate. 4 foot tall. I don't know. That could be anything. But between 5 and 8 years old, 4 foot tall, short hair, African American boy. If it was drug related, the concern is that, how many people get away with hurting somebody when it's drug related? A lot. So I think, I don't know. I think I looked on Amazon to see if they had the suitcase and didn't find it. Really, Jackie, that's a really great idea. That's a really great idea. So that would mean it's pretty, it's got to be pretty custom to that area. Like that means there's probably a good chance it was either somebody that was in Vegas or maybe even had it made. My cousin makes suitcases, like custom designs and stuff. But the only hope that I feel about this is the fact that the neighbors and the town is really, really pushing for him to be identified. And I don't think, judging by the reaction that the town gave, and it seems like a smaller community, that they're going to give up on finding him, finding out who he is and whatnot, and, giving him the proper, laying him to rest. Seems like maybe a gift shop. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Amber. But it's just so hard, because the possibilities are endless. So unless somebody comes forward, it's going to be so difficult. I'm guessing the suitcase came from, yeah. So they didn't even say how long ago the suitcase came from Vegas. They have said that just that they predicted that he died, somewhere recently. I've got to search the case. I've never heard of it until this live. Yeah, I know. So LA, that's why it's really unfortunate to me. I didn't even know about, I'm going to be honest, I didn't stumble on this because I was in search of finding something that hadn't been talked about. I had a friend that was just saying, okay, about all this drama that's going on in our community. And she's like, and yet no one's talking about, this case, Lily Peters, and no one's talking about this case with the boy in the suitcase. And I was like, what? Boy in a suitcase? And then I looked it up and was like, well, at least, it's not going to be a huge live because there isn't that much info, but I think any voice we can give him is, you did see a small blurb in Facebook news area about it, but other than that, nothing. I'm starting to wonder if it was drug related, like if he's going to come back with something in his system, because that's the only thing I can think of that would make no marks or anything like that on his body. But I think we need to do a better job as a community just talking about it. I know it's like, well, there's not a lot on it, so there can't be. I didn't hear what you said, the autopsy. No, well, beautifully broken. So what they actually said about the no, he wasn't reported. So no, but not by anyone was he reported missing. He was put on there by the police after he was found by this forager. Beautifully broken. The autopsy could not determine his cause of death. So they sent away they're waiting on the toxicology report. And so we were just kind of trying to figure out what would cause an autopsy to not show a cause of death. And I think, I mean, I can't think of another possibility other than being drugged. And yet he was only put on the missing kids tip line and by the police, not by he wasn't reported by any caretaker or anything like that. And that was on April 18th. And then the 19th, they released the photo of the suitcase, and that's the last the police have released any info. So we're talking over 2 weeks ago, and no one knew about it. I didn't know about it. But I do think that the more we provide voices for these kids that are kind of just disappearing and we're not hearing about it, is if we do a better job at talking about it, right? Like, I know it's not going to bring the 400, hey Diana, the 400 people, that whatever the drama brings, but I do feel that if it brings 20 people that get to hear more about this, I look at Lily, like what led, hey Gen 8, what led police to Lily Peters was a web sleuth, however you say it, slough, whatever, lead. So I think that we have an obligation, if we're going to call ourselves a true crime community, to talk about this. Now, I probably can't do true crime every day because it would make me go nuts. But it's suspect, and I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Ellie, I think so too. I feel like they will have a release. Yes, Amber, thank you for bringing that up, because they did say they had a forensic artist that was going to work on reconstruct and putting together a sketch of his face and put it out there. I know, Ellie, especially if we're talking Vegas. Yep. We used to have a mod on Tasha's channel from Vegas. I should ask. I wonder if they know anything, if they've seen that suitcase in Vegas somewhere. I feel like they will. Yeah, they do when they're addicted to drugs. Because he got into something, or right, beautifully broken, right. Like, do you guys remember that Evelyn Boswell case? Amber, I'm sure you do. Has her cause of death ever come out? I'm just curious, because I've never heard it, but it doesn't mean it hasn't. And I've always wondered what her cause of death was. But I think she's still waiting trial, if I remember correctly. But that's another case, though. Look, nationwide manhunt. I remember being in work nonstop, watching the coverage on Evelyn Boswell, just watching them search nonstop. And then they found her, and it's been, it was all over the place. And then, so what is the disconnect here? Is it because he was already killed, so they didn't feel like they had? I don't know. It's actually, now it's really bothering me, because I want to know. But I mean, it's like the Delphi, that was super frustrating to everybody because people want to know more info. But Amber, it did come out. I'm relying on you for my source, because you're from that area. If I remember correctly, they're from around where you are. It just, and I think to kind of keep going along with this, I think that it's a good idea maybe that we talk about this again. I mean, obviously just follow up with what's going on, but also I want to look into that Cody Bigsby case. And then maybe like once a week we can talk about, I cannot remember if a cause or, yeah, I don't think it was yet, because I think they were saving it for trial, and because of COVID, things kept getting pushed back. But I think that once a week we should make it our goal to talk about a case of a child who isn't getting the attention that they need. And I know I've pumped her a lot, but I do think, Alex, if you follow her and you follow her community posts, she does a phenomenal job at continually every day posting something about, a kid or some tragic, keeping up on true crime and just like bringing awareness to those cases. And that's good, LA. I just think, and I'll start doing this at night, because I do think, obviously people are at work now, so it's harder to watch, obviously, during the day. But I think we have to be part of this voice if we're going to consider ourselves a true crime community. And like I've said before, I'm not this true crime buff, but I have some amazing resources behind the scenes, not a research team, but that is so good. She's like Amber and my other couple friends. They're like walking encyclopedias when it comes to podcasts and all of that stuff. And so I think once a week we're going to make it our goal, like what's today, Tuesday, like a missing kid Tuesday or something, that we emphasize the trials until September 20th. 19 counts against her. Holy cow. Wow. Okay, LA. Yeah. Well, next week we're going to start it at night. I'm going to do more true crime in the night, because I've had a couple requests to do it at night because they're home from work and whatnot. And then I was like, well, I don't want to take away from some of the other channels doing, there's a lot going on the YouTube. But then both Amber and another friend of mine were like, do it. Like, if they want true crime that night, they're going to come over. Missing Kid Mondays. There you go, LA. You got it. That's what we'll do. Missing Kid Mondays. And Natasha did a really, when she did the missing kids, did a nice job of that. But this is let's specifically do this for Missing Kid Mondays. That is like cases that have not gotten attention. And what I can do is can't they run this kid's DNA through? That's what I'm confused about, Beautifully Broken. I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. You mean we don't got... Yes, this is what is mind-boggling to me, is DNA, fingerprints, like nothing in 2+ weeks is identifying this little boy. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So what I'm going to try to do is we'll do Missing Kids Mondays, and I'll try to do it around 7 or 8 so that, and I know people do like the drama. So, yeah, that's a great thought, Beautifully Broken. Also, I had looked up Lily Peters, and there's no update on that really that I've seen, other than just where it was left off. Obviously they're grieving and whatnot. And the last I heard was the mother is having naturally an extremely difficult time and was kind of pleading for people to just back off a little bit. So out of respect, I am going to do that a little bit. But could tell, but exactly, LA. So I feel like maybe find specific cases, right, Amber? So what I'm going to do is I'll like put a community post, and if you've got a specific case that you want to cover that's not being covered, email me or something and we can look at it. Yeah, but they could tell Brian Laundrie. So it just, something is off about this. I mean, other than the fact that he was found in a suitcase, but that's off as it is. But yeah, the partial skeletal remains and stuff, that they could tell by Brian Laundrie. So my other question is, I got a quick question for you guys, switching topics just really quick. So there's the story of the boy in the suitcase. Do you think, I'm just curious, do you think, now we know that the Petito lawsuit now says that the parents knew where Gabby's body was when they went on vacation. In chat, tell me, do you think that they knew where her body was the whole time? I'm just really curious about this, because I go back and forth. Exactly, Ellie. You do? Yeah. I've tried to have grace, and I've tried to say, well, I can't imagine what it's like. But you know what? At the end of the day, all these things are pointing to the fact that they knew. Um, if they know, oh, I wish I Love Durf was here. If they knew, I mean, what does that mean? That will they go to prison then? Like, I mean, is that what that means? Somebody said in Florida there's different, I don't know. I don't know that part of it, but if that's the case, do you know how wild this is going to get? Shell, you do think they knew? Yeah, I do too. I didn't, and I wanted to believe the best, but nah. You know, I've sometimes even thought maybe, and this is probably way out there, but maybe his dad did something to him. Like, you know, it's just an off case. I think they made plans that weekend, but left out info from the sister. Yeah, LA, I don't think the sister knew either. I don't think the sister knew, but I think they knew. Um, it's kind of weird because you almost stop and think, okay, I love my kids with everything in me, but I cannot fathom that. I think I would hope that what I would do is say, you know, I love you with everything in me, but let's go. We need to go. You need to confess. Um, I can't imagine. I know unpopular opinion. It's so that's the hard part is we can all say, well, we would not do that, but I guess it's really hard when you get yourself in that position when it comes to your kids. But going on vacation, right? Yeah, Jackie, you're right. Going on vacation to me is what's wild. That right. They ignored phone calls from Gabby's family. So do you think there was a different intent for that vacation and the sister ruined it by showing up? That maybe they planned to help him escape and then the sister came for that day? Because it just seems super wild for him to come home and then be like, all right, let's go on vacation and then bring him back. Like that doesn't make sense. They had plenty of time to get him out before, you know, before this before the cops came and showed him, before she was reported missing. I I still, the dad still really yeah, beautifully broken, right? The dad still gives me the, not Gabby's dad, but his dad. I don't know. Maybe the mom didn't know, maybe, but the dad did. I subbed to you because of what NC did to you. Oh, thank you, Carol. Thank you so much. I think that's a good theory. Hey, Kathy Joe, there's one of my expertise. I've been talking to you up about how you're like a resource for every podcast that exists. And Kathy Joe, we've got a new case, Cody Bigsby. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna be, hey, Rebellious Rose. But I mean, that's a pretty, I think perhaps it was planted as the last hurrah to get, wow, yeah. Guys, okay. All right. This would blow my mind. Okay. Do you think they knew what he was going to do to himself? Like, or were they planning to turn him in? Nothing is making sense to me. And the Petitos, they have to know something. Like they have to have some sort of, you know, something that we haven't seen that they, you know, can make that type of accusation. Obviously, can't imagine how he might shut. Yeah, I know. I don't know the Florida laws, but I remember somebody trying to convince me that they couldn't be arrested if they did know. But I would find that super hard to believe. And then I was like, okay, maybe the dad did it. I don't know. They didn't know from Brian's mouth, but when he went camping, they knew. Yeah, that's highly possible too. The whole thing is just tragic. You never ever want to see this type. I think his mom is sick also. That's right. That's right, Kathy Joe. I remember she is sick. If I remember, she had cancer, was fighting cancer at this time. And I think I remember hearing that the parents it was alleged they were getting divorced. I do know their house is up for sale, which, I mean, can you blame them, really? I'm in Florida, and yeah, you would get arrested. Yeah, see, that's wild. Like, because they have grandchildren and a daughter. So to risk their freedom for all that is crazy. Right, Carol. It's just crazy that they would give that all up. But then there's rumors that they weren't that close to I don't know. It's just all around a really tragic situation. Parents definitely knew. Why else would they? Yeah, so you can't deny the fact that they lawyered up instantly and didn't return any phone calls. And even if my kid was like 20 or 21, however old they were, if they came home randomly with this, I know, Carol. So that's the hard part, is we can say that until it happens and we don't know. But hey, Gina, if they come home with a van that I know is not mine without your girlfriend, and all of a sudden he won't answer, and her parents are now blowing you up because okay, obviously something's wrong, right? You at least answer the phone, or you at least say, hey, Brian, you need to call her parents back. Something's up. You better tell us right now what's going on. Is how I feel, is that they wouldn't just not ask a question when I mean, they had to have asked Brian, why are her parents blowing us up? Like, why are they calling us? If he was the apple of their eye and they didn't like her, we do have. Yeah, that's true, Carol. Do we know what the relationship was like with her, with Gabby? Because we've heard it's good. I've heard it's not good. But unfortunately, I feel like I have no trouble admitting that there is not much I wouldn't do. Kathy Joe, exactly. That's what I mean. We could say, oh, I would never do that for my kid. But if it came down to it, I want to think I wouldn't. But a lot of us would give up our lives for our kids. Yeah. Here's my other question, because I've not been able to ask some of these questions before. Do you think that he was in a fit of rage, or he planned it? Deep questions. I don't know how I just saw it in the news beforehand, and so now I'm kind of thinking about it. Do you think they had a fight, or that he planned it, and that him going home? Do you think him going home was basically them breaking up, and then he talked her into taking him back? Rage, yeah. Part of me thought maybe he took him home. Maybe he went home because she broke up with him. And then he talked her into taking him back, which is not uncommon. We know that in an abusive situation. And they thought they could make it work when he got back out there, and they had another argument. And I think she was done. She was like, this is over. And that's all I could think. They will be arrested if they found out after the fact. Now, if they can prove it, okay. It's just they had their whole lives ahead of them. But I do think that they were toxic together, probably from the beginning. I mean, many people said that. Going home was basically pitching a fit, taking her vehicle and leaving her there. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Kathy. Exactly, Carol. Both very immature. I think both were probably, a little selfish, as every 21-year-old has they were stuck in a van. I mean, I gotta be honest, when I'm stuck in a vehicle with my husband for that long, there's some fights. I think that what happened in Utah, all of that stuff was it was like a ticking time bomb for them. I think he was maybe a little spoiled. Probably they both were. I don't think I think her parents knew she was unhappy, but not to the point, obviously, of how unhappy she was. Exactly, Carol. I don't believe she ever called her mom after that Utah experience. Remember, they said she was going to call her parents, and when I don't think she ever called her parents. Well, they said she didn't. I don't know who she called. Part of me thinks, did she call anybody or did she call his parents? In my mind, I think he was probably pretty enabled his whole life. And I'm back on the Petito case. I don't know. I agree. Just wondering if Gabby went to jail that day, if this, yeah, I know. It's mind blowing. They had expectations of this perfect, right. You're right, Kathy Joe. That's a great way to put it. I mean, look at Red, White, and Bethune. I love them since this all came out, but they are pretty real that this van life and this bus life and stuff, it is not easy. Like, just when you watch the video of them finding Gabby's van, they're in the middle of like a little bit of a disagreement about the storage trip, right? With their parents was this close. I totally agree with that, Carol. I totally agree with that. In the police video, she called her parents, but they said she didn't, so must have called. That's what I think, Ellie, is that she called his parents. And I think that if he was enabled, which I think he was, they probably calmed her down and talked to him and probably called him and were like, Brian, you're okay, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think she was probably as close to their parents. I think they were close, but maybe not as much as they, led everybody to believe. But I think they were both like Kathy Joe said, they thought their parents were helping him financially. Brian obviously had some money in his account, or Gabby did, one of the two. They were going to go off and live this incredible van life. Everything was going to be perfect. There's going to be, no worries or cares in the world. And then it wasn't. Oh, hey, Gold Star Mom. Hey, Gold Star Mom. Tomorrow night, we're going to do another true crime live. Then we found out he's got $20K in the bank afterwards. And exactly, Carol. So where did the $20K come from? Yeah, Amber, exactly. I think they thought it would be different. And so Red, White, and Bethune are very open about how it is not easy. They love it and they wouldn't change it, but it is very difficult. And I remember right after this case happened, they've had CPS called on them so many times now since this case went national, because of the fact of like people just saying like their kids aren't getting the education and stuff. So, I mean, there's just so much. It's just, yeah, it is very trendy right now, but it is. And you don't know if money was an issue. The case freaked me out because my 23-year-old daughter was on a crutch. Oh my goodness, really, Rebellious? Wow. That's crazy. Anyone with kids or anyone that's ever been on a long trip with your husband, that it's not just, wonderful all the time. And their van wasn't like exactly what I would picture a van life van. Like, it wasn't very big. So yeah, exactly, Carol. And I think you're right. The Petitos, I bet you did, Rebellious. The Petitos know far more than we do. And I think that's why they were able to draw the conclusion that the parents knew. It's not even, it's the event itself is tragic, but then to have this end this way too is so tragic, because it's like constantly putting both sets of parents, but obviously more the Petitos, if the Laundries knew, through pain nonstop. It's just crazy. But that's another thing I want to do more of covering. Oh, no doubt. If I was stuck in a bed with my husband, yeah. Exactly, Kathy Joe. She's so smart. That's an excellent way to say it. Their van was set up for Instagram photos, but not practical living. And that's what I think they found out, and why they tented it a lot of times, and ended up being in that tent a lot, which their tent wasn't even that big, so it was just a lot of togetherness. And if they both were immature and had their own kind of mental health issues, yeah, that's just, as you just said, oh, it's just a toxic situation. That's probably why they are suing them. You don't sue people. Right. Right. Absolutely, Carol. And I think her family is well off to begin with, but I do think that they obviously want to know. There's answers they want to know. I thought he was legit hiding out. I didn't think he had the ball. I didn't either, LA. I really thought he was hiding out as well. And I'm still, his dad would, I don't know. Just something about it. Something about it is just, it's just bizarre. I mean, the whole case is obviously bizarre, but this is, yeah. But I know that Kathy Jo and another friend of mine had found a lot of domestic violence cases that I would really, really like to cover some of them as well. Like 2 14-year-olds trying to play girl. Exactly, Carol. Oh, I definitely believe he's dead. And there's this conspiracy theory part of my head that says the dad did it, but I know ultimately he probably did it. It's just, we always have conspiracy theories. Why some still think he's alive because of how it, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. You could definitely see why somebody would believe it. The fact that his parents basically knew right where he was is wild in itself. Yeah, it's just nuts. But there is a lot of, there's been several van life cases that have ended similar to this, maybe not as, as mainstream media's Gabby Petito, but I think shortly after the Petitos, this happened to another girl in a van life, another woman, from my understanding. But I do think that this is happening a lot more as well, that domestic violence is ending up leading to this. I mean, look at Alexis Starkey. I think that was her. Yeah. Again, not something that's super talked about. And so, like, I feel like as a true crime community, like, I like to do the fun videos and I like to talk about everything, but FBI couldn't find him. And on day one that parents find him, it is nuts. But they probably knew exactly where he was and knew he was going to. Yeah, Carol. Yeah. Kathy Jo's actually the one that told me about the suitcase kid and some of the cases that just, yeah, it's just wild. And so my goal is to do, like, at least every other day, do some of that. Like, I want to do, I like to do the funny videos, and I want this channel to be pretty much a little bit of everything. But I think we do have a responsibility to, as far as my channel, to talk about some of these things and give some voices to these cases that might not have a voice. It is frustrating, this little boy, it is super frustrating. There's a lot of unanswered questions. So I'll make sure that we keep following up on that. They never went searching for him in the early days. They knew. Yeah. Bye, LA. See you next time. Yeah, Carol, I agree. They had to have. I wonder, and then sometimes I wonder, okay, did they know that they were getting close to being found out? So they were like, yeah, we better act. My daughter's BFF has been missing. Are you kidding me, Rebellious? Rebellious, email me her name, please, if you don't mind, please. Let's give her a voice. Oh, thanks, Carol. Thanks. I'm getting there. You get better every day, right? Rebellious, I would love to be able to bring a voice to that. Obviously, I wouldn't want to damage the case at all, but oh my goodness, that's terrible. But Amber, if you're still here, could you drop my email again? Alexis Gabe. Okay. Rebellious, I'm on that. All right. And I know, like, Kathy Jo, Amber, those guys are amazing too. we'll look into that for sure. I also wanted to thank you guys before we go here. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you guys because last week I was talking to you about the brain and how I wanted to do neurosurgery and stuff. And it was too late and all this stuff. And I cannot remember who, but somebody in chat said, Parker, don't give up. Try, neurosurgery physician's assistant. And I was like, what? Could I really do that? Do I have time? I'm going to be 40 this year. Fast forward, guys. I prayed about it for a really long time. And today, I want you guys to know I changed my major to biopsychology so that I can go right on to PA school to do my neurosurgery, neuroscience, basically physician's assistant. So I can't for the life of me remember who told me, but I want to thank you guys for supporting me and believing that I could do it. And I'm super pumped, and I start Monday, and I'm really, really, really excited that y'all reminded me that I wasn't too old to fulfill my dreams. Like, seriously, since I've been 20, this has been my passion. I just kept going and going and going. And I was like, oh, so I, just was going to get a plain bachelor's. And then somebody said that last week, and I was like, and my husband said, why are you're not too old. By the time you finish, you'll be 44. You're fine. And I was like, okay, I can do this. So I just wanted to thank you guys for your support, for being here in chat, and let me operate on you if I need to. Like, just kidding. But all right, yeah, Kathy Jo's already on it. Class Kids has been helping us. Rebellious, and we are gonna get going on this, and we will help bring a voice to her. Exactly, Carol. Exactly. That's my goal, is to surround myself with good people. Oh, tomorrow at 2, I will be on Naysayers to help her build her channel up a little bit. It won't be any drama, anything, Natasha, she assured me. So, but I would like you guys to support if you can. I might go live later if no one else is live, but thank you all so much. Let's keep this little boy in our thoughts and see what we can find out. And we will look up Cody as well, and we will get going on Alexis Gabe. All right, you guys are all awesome. Thank you for the support, everybody. I love you. Bye.